Was down in the dumps fighting for my life in my final years of college.
I've been fighting, give all my love, and nothing's gonna tear us apart.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Eli. Welcome back to my channel. As a college graduate, I feel like I'm the best person to tell you everything you need to know about going to college. So, of course, going to go through all of the very basic things that you need to know, all the things that you usually get in all your college advice videos. And then we're going to get into the topics that I feel like people kind of shy away from. Starting out, I am a first generation college student, college graduate. So one of the things I could tell you, do not be afraid to not finish in 4 years. I did not. Also, don't be afraid to switch your major up. I changed my major 3 times, but either way, the degree is hanging on my mama wall. Some of the things that I can recommend to you that were helpful to me when I first got to college is kind of knowing a little bit of what my plan is. Even if a plan changes down the line, having a good idea of what you want to do is very, very important. Keeping that in the back of your mind is really good for not losing track of what the goal is, which is getting the degree. So one thing that I did not do that I wish that I did is knowing what was on my degree audit and also knowing my degree plan. Some schools put together a plan of classes that you have to take, so they recommend a specific order to take them in. I didn't know that. I also didn't have anyone to help me when it was time to register for classes. So I ended up taking all of my general education, art, theater, history classes all in the same semester. So by the time I was a senior, I was taking biochemistry. I was taking biochemistry, molecular genetics, organic chemistry all in the same semester. Do not, for the life of you, do not do that to yourself. Please, I'm begging you. I was struggling. I was down in the dumps fighting for my life in my final years of college. Make sure that you are looking at any type of advice that you can get, whether that's going to a guidance counselor, whether it's finding your degree audit online, finding someone who may have already completed college and went through that same program that you went through to figure out a good plan and a way to take your courses so they aren't a heavy burden on your shoulders every semester. Really important one, if you don't need to take that 8 a.m., go ahead and drop it for me, baby. You're not going. I remember my very first day of classes. I had an 8 a.m. history. I woke up at 6:45. The alarm went off. I rolled over, grabbed my phone, looked at it, went on the website, dropped it, picked it up for 10 a.m. and I went back to sleep. If you do not have to go, you're not gonna go. And I know in high school we get up at 6, we're lively. Did we get up at 6? I feel like we were at school at like 6:30 in high school. You're not going to do it in college. Now that you have the freedom and like it's your choice whether or not you need to go, you're not going to go. Unless it's a class that you love and that's the only time that you can take it, you're going to struggle to get there. So don't even set yourself up for failure in that manner, especially once you get into a routine of joining your organizations and you're out until like maybe 8 o'clock doing an event, or you're going out with your friends and maybe you want to go to a movie and the movie's at 9:30 and you're getting home at 11. Maybe you have a job and you're not getting home until midnight. You are not going to 8 a.m. I'm here to be realistic with you. Drop that class. And then 2 more things before we get into the topics that you're here for. Learn your learning style. It was really difficult for me to navigate taking classes that weren't hands-on and that I couldn't visualize very well. I need everything color coordinated. I need my vocab words to be blue. I need the example problems to be red. So when I'm flipping through my notes, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know exactly how to find it. When everything was in one color, it's like I got to go through every single page individually. And it was too much for me. It was also really difficult because I am a hands-on learner. So if it wasn't a class where I'm like physically, I have a science degree. I wasn't physically putting something into a beaker over and over to practice, I probably wasn't going to get it. And knowing that that is how I needed to learn made it really, really easy to study and kind of go back and teach myself a little bit some of the material, especially if your teacher doesn't really teach in your learning style. I had classes like that and I really, really struggled, and I had to go back in and really like buckle down to learn it. So knowing what your learning style is, knowing what your teacher's learning style is going to be really beneficial to being successful in your classes. On that same token, while your teachers are not your friends, they will fail you. It is really important to build good relationships with them. For me, I used to go and I sat in the front And I sat in the front in my general microbiology class, loved my teacher, loved the lab that went along with it. I also sat in the front. I was always asking questions. I was always being really engaged. And I got asked back to be a teaching assistant for the next semester. And I got a B in the lecture and I got an A in the lab. Girl, I did great. And anytime I needed help, I was confident because I had spoke to my teacher. I spoke to my lab teacher. They knew if I needed help, I was going to go ask a question. And being that type of student, they're going to be more willing to want to help you. So when the time came that they needed another peer mentor, TA type of thing, because as a TA, you can't grade other students. So I was a peer mentor. At the time that they needed another peer mentor, they reached out to me specifically to be able to do it and see if it fit in my schedule, because they already knew. And I got to use that experience as a project later on for my degree, and it helped me to graduate. So lock in with those teachers. Last note, kind of similar to that one, find different resources. I didn't have the best experience with any of my advisors except for my very last one. Love her dearly. So you need to find other people who are willing to help you. I went to a PWI. I graduated from the So we had the student support services, which was full of Black women. And I hate to say this, they were probably the most essential part of me doing well in my first couple years, because they were looking out for me in a way that my different race advisors and things just simply didn't. Like, even with me coming to school early, because all the freshmen came early, to have someone help you register for your classes. And as I said, I messed myself up because nobody was willing to help me. I was the only Black student in the room. I was the only Black person in the room, and nobody was willing to help me with my schedule. They all just kind of assumed that I knew what I was doing and I didn't need their help. So finding different people who are going to be willing to help you is also going to be a really big deal. They helped me get scholarships. They helped me with tutoring. Like, they had my back. So find that community as well. An easy way to find that community is going to different events around campus. Find where you stick. That is going to be so important. I found that when I was busy and my schedule was full, I got the best grades because it helped me to have discipline and learn how to regulate my own life in a way that was beneficial. So I luckily had teachers that would kind of give you everything you needed and you had the week to finish it. So Monday and Tuesday was homework, get all my assignments done, don't call me on Monday or Tuesday, I can't do anything to help you. Wednesday or Thursday, once I was in organizations, I was doing tabling events, I was doing just regular events that they hosted. We were going out passing. I was an intern at the counseling center, so we were doing surveys and different things. I would have my intern shifts at the counseling center on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then once the weekend came around, I was good to go hang out, do whatever I pleased. Sunday, you take the day, refresh, revive, get ready for the next week, and start it all over again. And being able to put myself on that schedule was really, really helpful, because I had to get my homework done on Monday or Tuesday, because I knew that on Wednesday or Thursday, I had to go be an intern. I had to go set up that table event. I had to go to that board meeting. I knew that stuff needed to get done, and there was no way I could do all of that and be a good student. So I had to separate my life by which days I could do everything. And it worked out really, really well in my favor. I got probably my highest GPA that I had for a semester. In the semester where I felt like I was running around with a chicken with my head cut off. And it was so rewarding. And I found that even in my adult life, when I have too much free time, I don't get anything done, because it's always like, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I have nothing to do. When you have something to do, it's like it's now or never. It's set myself up good today, or tomorrow I'm going to be stressed. But when you have nothing, it's like, oh, I can do it tomorrow. Oh, I can do it later today. So being able to do that for myself in college really set me up nicely to know that I need to do that for myself as well in adulthood. And people say all the time, habits that you develop in your 20s is going to lead you to be the person that you are in your 30s. So be developing some good habits. Also, the organizations that I joined when I was in college were really crucial for me. So find organizations that you really like. Don't just join a club because your friend joined or because they have cute t-shirts. I don't know. I joined professional development. I was an intern, which helped me with marketing, which later got me a different internship in marketing. My professional development helped me to learn what companies to look out for by the time that I graduated. It helped me to go to conferences where I got to speak to people in those companies and kind of give me a gist of like what I should be doing throughout the rest of my college time to make sure that when I graduate and I'm a senior, I already had a job, but I could have a job lined up and I knew what I wanted to do and how to get there. So those spaces are really, really important. The organizations that you join are going to be critical. We ended up being a really close-knit group of people on the executive board of that professional development organization, and we got along really well. Those were my homies. But we ended up being able to kind of like look out for each other as well. And it wasn't even that we needed to be friends, that we needed to hang out all the time. We just knew that we all had a common goal, and because we had that common goal, we were here for each other. So find organizations where you really fit, that'll help you with your professional growth. So by the time that you're a senior, you're a graduating senior with a job, or you know what company to look out for, or even that you're on that company's radar. You can also join different organizations. So later on, if you meet someone, be like, oh yeah, I also was in that organization. I loved it. Like, you need to be setting up those professional and kind of personal relationships in the organization that you choose. So please make sure that you choose them. So the people that you surround yourself with in college are going to be slightly monumental in your entire experience. So let's start with your roommates, because you're going to be spending a good amount of time with whoever you live with. I tell people all the time, and I even made this mistake once, do not live with your friends. I know you love them. I know you think you can spend every waking moment with them. You can't. You can't. I feel like going into a roommate situation with one of your friends, you kind of already have an idea of who they are, but I don't think you really know somebody until you live with them and they're comfortable in their own space, especially in a place where they pay the bills. You can't tell me nothing in a place that I work to stay at. Sorry. And knowing that, taking who your friends are in the comfort of their own home and trying to make that person line up with the idea that you have of them as someone that you go and have fun with, they're not the same person. They're not going to be the same person. You're probably not going to like that person. And that's why a lot of friendships don't last. Who I present myself to be when I'm out in public is not who I am when I'm in this room. I'm in this room with shorts on. Even in this video, I am only presentable from the top up. I got on pajama shorts. I lay in my bed. I'll eat some chips in my bed. I'll be gross and hanging out in my room doing whatever I please because it's my house. I bought all the stuff in here. When I'm out, I'm not going to present myself in that same type of light, you know? And I think that's where a lot of roommate conflicts come in, because this is my sanctuary. I paid for this. I don't have to wash those dishes if I don't want to. You should, but I don't have to. They're my dishes. That's half my sink. Why would I worry about what you have to say when my money's going towards this? So it's going to lead to a good amount of conflicts. I think more so if you live with your friend than if you were to live with somebody that you don't know. Somebody you don't know, I feel like at the beginning, there's still kind of that wall of you want to present yourself the best that you can. Your friend's already comfortable with you. It's going to start out a little bit havoc-like. I'm not saying that you can never live with your friend. It'll never work out. But from my experience, I've tried it and it didn't work. I've told other people not to do it and they did and it didn't work. It's just not something that I think is really good. So I would recommend getting a random roommate. I know my college had us fill out a little form about ourselves to find out if we're a night owl, the type of things we enjoy in our free times, if you drink or smoke, because that will come up. And it will pair you with a list of people. It'll give you their email and their full name. You can look them up if you want to. I think it included people's social medias, but I haven't lived in a dorm in so long, I don't really remember. And you can chat with them, find out how well you connect, and then pick them to be your roommate. You could also do just like a completely random type person, but you really could end up with anybody. You will end up with someone that you can bond with over the fact that you're both freshmen in college, but still it could be anyone. So I'd recommend, if your school has the option, to kind of fill out that form, get some matches, connect with those people, and then find who you want to live with. Go that route. And in that same realm of like, you don't know if the person that you live with is going to be drinking or smoking, please, please, please do not think that because the person that you live with, the people that you're around, or just people that you see on campus are drinking or smoking, that you have to do the exact same thing. I don't smoke. I've never smoked. I've never tried it. I've never thought about it. It's just not my thing. And there is nothing you can say that's going to peer pressure me into doing something that I don't want to do. So I've never tried it. And you need to have that same type of will when you go to college, don't let anyone peer pressure you into anything. I've had friends that smoke, and because they respected me and my decisions, they didn't make me smoke with them. They might have asked. But once I said no, the answer was no. And that was just it. And you need to keep people around who are okay with you saying no to things, even if they enjoy them. People who are going to pressure you into things are not the people for you. And you're going to know. As soon as you say something and they don't respect your boundary, those are not your people. You will also, though, need to understand that you might be put into multiple different situations to experience drugs or alcohol. Even if you aren't doing them yourself, you might be put in a position to see other people doing them. And that can be really different as well. Make sure you know how to like separate yourself from situations that you don't want to be in, but you don't have to partake. And if you are going to partake, make sure that you are being careful. I am going to do a whole separate video of my different college experiences and things that happened to me and things I would have done differently now that I'm an adult and my frontal lobe is developed and I can now see the situation in a different perspective. So be careful, especially with drinking. I was drugged in college as a freshman. We'll talk about it in another video, but you need to be careful of who you're with. Don't take any type of drink from anyone. If you didn't see them pour it, don't take it. If they hand you something and the seal is broken, don't take it. Even if you need to kind of get yourself out of that sticky situation where you're kind of like, oh, I'm not thirsty, or like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and you like throw it away. Whatever you need to do to get yourself out of that scary situation, do that. But if you are going to drink, have someone with you. We made sure that we did the buddy system. It was 3 of us. Only 2 people would ever drink at a time, and somebody was just on alert to make sure that everyone got home safely. And if you are going to partake in any type of drug or alcohol, I would recommend that. I can't really give you too much advice on, like, don't take something if the seal is broken when it comes to drugs, because I don't do any and I haven't done any. So I'm not sure what that realm is like. So be mindful. And that same be mindful comes in when, can I say sex on YouTube? If you're going to have any sexual encounters in college, I have only had 1 sexual encounter in college and it was not consensual. Also a different story for a different day. But I didn't partake in sex in college. I wasn't dating in college. I didn't do any of that when I was still in college. I had a boyfriend while I was in college, but he was my high school boyfriend that I ended up getting back together with like later on. Irrelevant, but I didn't do any of those things. So if you are going to be dating or sleeping with people, wrap it up. You don't want a college pregnancy. You don't want any type of STD or STI, and you just don't really want to be, I don't know, just out and about, if you're going to be sleeping with people while you're in college. I know it's a real weird thing to ask, but ask them for those results. Make it like a cute little date idea and y'all can go together. But you need to be making sure that if you are gonna be, first of all, I don't even really know what to say because I wasn't doing it. I don't like people knowing where I live, so I wouldn't be inviting people over to my house, but I also wouldn't go over to their house because you don't know them. I don't know, but people do it. Be safe. However you're going to do it, however you meet the person, be safe. Make sure that you're only doing what you're willing to do as much as you want to do. If they say no, if you say no and they say yes, 911. And I know that's such a scary experience because that's not what I did in my experience. I kind of just like let it go. But do whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's you need to go talk to somebody, you need to call somebody. Even I took a break from college after. So whatever it is that you need to do, if you're in that situation, do that. My dad used to tell me, have fun and be safe. If you're not having fun, you need to leave. If it's not safe, you need to leave. Both of them go hand in hand, locked in, tight. If you're not having fun, safe fun, you don't need to be there. You are going to meet a lot of people in college and a lot of different people. And friendships in college are not the same as friendships in high school. A lot of times when we get into friendships in high school, it's proximity. You spend every day with these people. You spend 5 days a week with these people. You might be friends with them outside of school, so you might be spending all 7 days with them. You're spending 8 hours a day with the same people. Eventually, you're going to bond over something, whether that be a homework assignment, whether it be a teacher, whether that be someone you don't like, whether it be an art project. Like, you're going to find something that you can relate to. when you spend so much time with someone in college, it's not like that. You making friends and spending time with people is because you're making the conscious decision to do that. And it's just a little bit different. You have to understand that people have different schedules than you. They have different interests in you. They're getting a different degree. They're not even taking the same classes as you. And that can be really different when you have certain expectations of what a friendship is. And you're going to a little bit have to adjust that. Like, now that we're adults, people make the joke all the time that, like, you have to schedule in your friendships. And you do. Like, a lot of my long distance friends, we go on trips, but like, we gotta schedule that trip in advance. I have a friend right now, I live in Kentucky, she lives in Florida, and we're planning a trip for next year. I had a long distance boyfriend. We were only see each other every like few months, and we just lived those few months up. You're going to have to work through thinking that to be someone's friend, you need to spend all of your time with them. And even when it comes to your friends back at home, if they didn't come to college with you, keeping up with them so no one feels like they're being left out and forgotten is also a big thing. And then on that same token, friends that may have come to college with you, you might also have to navigate through them getting to college and wanting to be a whole different person. They might have been shy and reserved, or they really wanted to get into theater and they didn't have the opportunity. And now that all of this time is theirs to decide what they're going to do with, they just want to branch out. Now they want to be a social butterfly. They want to be the actor in like the biggest school play. And you have to let people take that time to figure out who they are and what they want to do and who they want to be. Because this is really the time to do it, now that you have the free time and the free will without someone telling you that you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. You're going to have to let those people be who they want. If your friendship is strong, you'll stay friends. If it's not strong, you don't need to be friends. But meeting new people in college is definitely different. Another thing that's different between high school friends and college friends, your high school friends probably grew up in the same area as you. You might have spent like your pre-K all the way up to graduating seniors together in the same town, in the same area, in the same cultures and customs. Of course you're going to get along. When you meet people in college who aren't from the same region, they don't like the same foods, they don't have that same common courtesy that you do, like things that you might believe are common sense, they've never heard of, you're going to have to work through that. And it's really difficult at first to think like, I would never, but they would always. And that's something where you're going to have to compromise and understand that everyone does not think like you. Everyone's not built like you. Everyone doesn't want to be like you. And you're not going to agree on everything. So being able to have conflict resolution in friendships that you deem worth it to save is going to be difficult, but it's going to be worth it at the end when you really have a friend that deserves that from you and you're both willing to work on that together. Yeah. And lastly, while you were there to get that degree, have fun. Have a good time. I had a great time in college when I was having a great time. I wasn't always having a great time, but sometimes I had a great time. Go out, experience life, try new things, go to parties safely. Remember, fun, safe. Go to parties, meet new people, go on trips, experience things. All of this is really a time, like, I won't say college are the best 4 years of life. I absolutely don't think that's true. However, college is a very fun 4 years of your life if you aren't stuck in your own mind. You need to broaden your horizons, whether that be you going on a study abroad to learn something, whether you're going to professional conferences, whether you're going back home with your friend for Thanksgiving. There's so many different opportunities that are going to present themselves to you. And remember, fun and safe. But if it is both fun and it is safe, it's probably going to be one of the best experiences that you've ever heard. Like, I went to Kansas. Why was I in Kansas? Professional development. But while I was there, man, that's another story. You know, college was just a time. But that is all I have for you. Please let me know if any of this advice was helpful to you. And as I'm going to keep saying throughout the remainder of this video, fun, safe. And I'll see y'all next week when I tell you all about my different college experiences that you got to hear about in this video.
Gonna tear us apart.